Hey there guys. So today I'm going to walk you through how I've rigged my AutoPilot 120 from Old Town for kayak fishing in the Pacific Northwest. So if you follow my channel, you know that I primarily pursue trout, salmon, walleye, bass, things of that nature. So quite a diversity of fisheries in a lot of different conditions that have very different requirements. And I found that the AutoPilot really excels at most, if not all of those. So today I'm going to walk you through, I got it fully rigged out with everything that I have. Obviously I'm not going to always go out like that, but I just wanted to show you how I've customized this kayak and why I've really come to love it. So let's go ahead and start the walkthrough. Oh, but before we get started, be sure and check out the new Spilt Milk store in the merch bar below, and I will also put a link in the description. You can help support this channel by buying some really cool shirts, sweatshirts. I got hoodies and stickers and mugs, and I'm working on hats. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna start at the bow here and work our way back. We might actually come back here in just a sec, but obviously you can see that I have registered my kayak. That is a requirement for any motorized kayak in Washington State that's in federal navigable water. So that includes the Columbia River, Lake Chelan, Lake Washington, things of that nature. So there's the motor, and here's the first mod I've made. I don't know if you've seen my video, but I actually am using an airplane prop as my propeller. It gets me a little bit more speed and a little bit more efficiency on the battery. I'm using a Ram Mounts Tough Pull to mount my camera way out so I can get those wide angle shots so you guys can see the takedowns on both of the rod holders, which are also Ram Mounts HD rod holders. And what I like about the HDs more than anything else is that dual T-bolt base on the, makes it very, very steady. There's no way that a king salmon's gonna rip that out of there. It just is really secure. I have no worries about losing anything, which is really nice. And I have those on both sides. On this side, I've actually modded this a little bit to include a ball mount for my over-the-rail transducer mount. So you can see that mount here, it comes down and allows me to push my transducer down to the water and bring it back up. This allows me to move my transducer between kayaks without any issues, and it takes up less rail space because I've incorporated that ram ball into the dual T-bolt base. Okay, coming backwards, now the AutoPilot comes standard with two forward-facing rod holder tubes. I maintained one on the right-hand side, but on the left-hand side I actually switched it out for a adapter that is provided by or manufactured by Navarre Kayak Fishing. That allowed me to mount a full-size ram ball there on a small track, and what that does is it pulls it in close to the seat, makes it really easy to reach, and allows for additional space back here on the track system for other accessories if I needed them. And that's a really cool thing. It just unscrews and screws in using the existing holes that are already on the Old Town AutoPilot. So you can see here I've done a customized C-deck on the interior of the cockpit. It comes standard with a black one. I did more of the fire logo, kind of going with the ember camo. Added a little bit of a ruler there so I can get a rough idea of how big some of the fish I are catching. And this is a slightly thicker padding, so about 3 millimeters thicker. It's not as dark, so it helps keep it cooler in the cockpit. I fish in very hot conditions, well over 100 degrees here in the Columbia Basin. This keeps me a little bit cooler, keeps my feet a little bit more comfortable when I'm standing. Let's see, for controlling the AutoPilot, obviously this is a remote system. I've mounted the remote permanently right here on the rail mount using a Ram Mounts small Tough Claw. That's very secure, that's never going to come off, and that just mounts on a ball on the back. Makes it easy to reach from the cockpit, and it's really nice. Here you'll see this little remote. That is the remote to my electronics system, which I can pull off really easy, or I can leave in place, but I'll show you how this works. So first we need to go and turn on the battery. So just gotta pop the seat off here and open up and show you how I've got everything wired in this thing. Now it comes pre-wired for your battery, which leads to the trolling motor. And I am using a 100 amp hour lithium battery from Rebel Batteries that has built-in Bluetooth so I can monitor the battery's health just using my phone. So that's really nice. And I've shown a couple videos on how I use that to better manage my behavior on the water as a kayak angler in a motor-powered kayak. So here I'm using a waterproof battery box that has a 12 amp hour lithium Rebel battery in it. I built this wiring harness system. I got it off Amazon. It's really nice. And what this does, it gives me a real-time readout of the volts on there, which you probably can't see because it always messes it up. But I can pull this out, and I also have access to a couple USB ports if I need to charge my phone. Then just runs using a cigarette lighter through a through-hole wiring mount there that's also waterproof. That just allows me to unplug and unplug this easy, and it has an on-off switch right here, which is really nice, so I can turn it off to conserve the battery when I'm not using it. So let me just go ahead and turn this on, and then we're gonna run that into the internal part of the kayak using a Yak Power wire harness kit there. I've got waterproof connectors on everything, and this is what ties into this remote system here. So it's all nice and tidy in there. Everything runs into that central harness that I have velcroed up on the inside to keep it from getting exposed to any water, if any water gets in the hole, which I've never actually had. All right, so we're back at the bow here, so I'm going to turn on my remote system, and I can hit 1, which is the power for my fish finder and heading puck, which I'll show you. And then I can hit the B for bow. That turns on these green lights and red navigation lights here on the bow. And like I said, 1 powered on my fish finder, so I should be able to power up my fish finder without any issues. And there it goes. So that's how that works. And that also powers this puck, which I'll talk about in a sec. And then I also have a couple different lighting systems on the inside here. So I've got M for mid and S for stern. There we go. We can see the orange lights turned on there, and the cockpit allows me to see what's going on in the cockpit in low light in the morning. And also I've got them in the stern here, which allows me to see what's going on behind me if I'm out fishing at night or in low light. Now I can also control that with my phone as well. So there's multiple ways for me to control my lighting and electronic systems on my kayak. Oh, and I almost forgot that number 2 actually turns on UV glow lights in the inside of my storage box here, so I can charge up glow-in-the-dark lures. I've got lights on both sides, so I can throw a lure in here, charge it up if I need it to glow. Okay, now let's go back to this puck. This is a heading puck from Minn Kota, and this ties in with the Bluetooth system that connects between my AutoPilot remote and the motor itself. And what this allows me to do is to make micro adjustments while on spot lock. I can move in any direction 5 feet that I want, left, right, forward and back 5 feet. So this is really nice when I'm working a spot, jigging on structure. I can move ever so slightly, or maybe I'm spot locked in the Columbia River running wobblers for salmon, and I want to bump over one direction, left or right, 5 feet. This allows me to do that. Okay, so moving to the back here, the AutoPilot comes standard with rear-facing rod holders on both sides, just 1 set. I went ahead and added a second set on both sides. That way I don't have to worry about having rod storage, like a crate or anything. I'll just have it built into the kayak itself. And you might be wondering what this is. This is my V-lock system for mounting a downrigger, and I'll show you how that works. So the V-lock system is actually bolted in here. I have a backing plate behind this. This is an aluminum plate that has a small pin lock right there that allows a plate, a 90-degree plate, to lock into place. And I've mounted my downrigger mounting plate to that. This allows me to go ahead and mount a Canon downrigger in place that's very easy to reach from the seat. I'm running a 6-pound ball. I've been doing this for several months now. I've had 0 issues. It's absolutely great for kokanee, salmon fishing. It's just a lifesaver. And what's nice is I can take all this off very quickly. All I gotta do is release the downrigger plate here, And I can leave that plate on there, or I can even just pull the plate out itself, the V-lock, and there you go. Okay, now moving backward, this is the newest addition to my AutoPilot, is a spare seat. Obviously, this is not going to be on there all the time. This will just be for those fun little trips where me and Sidra want to go out and just do some fun catch and release bass fishing on a local pond, or maybe just go jig for some walleye. We don't have a ton of gear, just 2 rods and a box of jigs. We're well below the capacity of this kayak. This kayak has a 330-pound capacity. With a sealed lead acid battery, with a lithium battery, we gain an extra 30 pounds. So we're looking at 360-pound capacity. We don't even come close to that even with our gear. So it's still not going to cause it to be all that unstable. She's quite a bit smaller than me, even though she'll have a higher seat position in the back. All I did to install this was just add this little device here that clamps onto the seats. I'm using a Sportsman's PDL seat. You can't use their seats that are designed for their power kayaks because they don't have a long enough tube here for you to lock onto it. That just then ties into some T-bolts right there. And gravity just allows that person to sit in there without any issues. And of course you can still lift the seat, so when you get to wherever you're going, you can then properly deploy the rudder without any issues, and you can travel with the rudder underneath the seat too if you feel like doing that. All right, so that completes my tour of my customized and tricked out AutoPilot 120 from Old Town. If you have any questions about this kayak, just let me know in the comments section below. I'll put links to all the various products or companies I use to help get the components I needed to trick this kayak out. It was absolute joy to fish from this thing. It's just amazing piece of technology, and I really enjoy having it. I never thought I'd love having a motorized kayak, but it's definitely become one of my favorites very quickly. I'll see you guys next time out on the water. Just remember, fish smarter, not harder. Bye guys.